Imagine waking up not to the blare of an alarm or the buzz of a notification, but to a quiet sense of calm. No frantic scrolling, no mental checklist of looming deadlines, just a moment of stillness before the world demands your attention. For many, this sounds like a luxury reserved for vacations or retirement. But what if this kind of morning, and the mindset behind it, could be woven into everyday life, even amid chaos? Across the country, a quiet shift is unfolding. People are rethinking how they begin their days, who they let into their emotional space, how they care for their bodies, and where they place their focus. This isn't about grand gestures or radical overhauls. It's about small, deliberate choices that add up to something far more resilient, joyful, and human. The modern rhythm of life often feels like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. News cycles spin faster than ever, work bleeds into personal time, and social media turns comparison into a full-time occupation. In response, many are stepping off the hamster wheel, not by quitting their jobs or moving to a cabin in the woods, but by reclaiming control over their inner world. One of the first places this change shows up is in the morning routine. Instead of reaching for a phone the moment eyes open, more people are choosing to pause. They might sit in silence, write down a few things they are thankful for, or simply breathe before engaging with the outside world. This small act creates a buffer between the self and the storm. It is not about ignoring problems, but about meeting them from a place of centeredness rather than reactivity. Science backs this up. Studies show that practices like gratitude and mindfulness can lower stress hormones, improve sleep, and even strengthen immune function. But beyond the data, there is something deeply human about starting the day by acknowledging what is already good, rather than what is missing or broken. This shift extends beyond the bedroom into the broader landscape of relationships. Not long ago, the idea of setting boundaries with family or longtime friends felt selfish or even disloyal. Today, more people are realizing that constant exposure to negativity, whether it is chronic complaining, passive aggression, or outright toxicity, takes a real toll. It is not about cutting people off without compassion, but about recognizing that emotional energy is finite. Helping others matters, but not at the cost of one's own well-being. Limiting time with those who drain rather than uplift is not cruelty, it is stewardship. And paradoxically, this boundary setting often leads to healthier, more authentic connections. When people are not exhausted by emotional labor they did not consent to, they have more genuine presence to offer those they truly care about. Laughter returns. Patience deepens. Conversations shift from venting to sharing. The quality of relationships improves not because people become perfect, but because the space between them becomes more intentional. At the same time, there is a growing awareness that the foundation of a good life is physical. It sounds obvious, yet it is astonishing how easily basic needs, sleep, movement, nourishing food, are sacrificed on the altar of productivity. Many have learned the hard way that skipping meals, surviving on caffeine, or treating the body like a machine that never needs maintenance leads to burnout, illness, and a dulling of joy. The new wisdom is not about extreme diets or punishing workouts, but about consistency and care. It is choosing the walk after dinner, drinking more water, going to bed 30 minutes earlier, or cooking a simple meal instead of ordering takeout for the third night in a row. These are not heroic acts, but they build a body that can carry joy, curiosity, and resilience. When health is prioritized, everything else becomes easier. Work feels less like a burden. Challenges feel surmountable. Even ordinary moments, like playing with a child or walking through a park, become richer because the body is not screaming for rest or repair. Perhaps the most profound change is happening in how people experience time itself. In an age of multitasking and constant distraction, the ability to be fully present has become rare. Many have realized they are missing their own lives, not because they are not living them, but because they are not noticing them. A child's laugh becomes background noise while checking email. A sunset is glimpsed through a windshield while mentally rehearsing a conversation. The result is a life that feels fast but shallow. The antidote is not to do less, but to be more there while doing it. This means putting the phone away during meals, listening without planning a response, or simply pausing to feel the sun on the skin. These moments are not grand or Instagrammable, but they are where life actually happens. When attention is given fully to the present, even mundane tasks can become meaningful. Washing dishes becomes a meditation. A commute becomes a chance to observe the world. Over time, this practice rewires the brain to find satisfaction in what is, rather than always chasing what is next. All of this points to a deeper truth. Well-being is not something that happens to us. It is something we build, day by day, choice by choice. It is not dependent on having more money, a better job, or fewer responsibilities. It emerges from how we relate to what we already have. The urgent will always knock loudly, the emails, the bills, the crises, but the important speaks softly. It is in the quiet gratitude, the honest conversation, the early bedtime, the shared silence. Choosing the important over the urgent is not easy, especially in a culture that glorifies busyness and equates exhaustion with worth. But those who make this choice consistently report something surprising. They do not just feel better, they live better. They are more patient with strangers, more creative at work, more open to joy. They are not immune to hardship, but they face it with greater strength because their foundation is solid. This movement is not led by gurus or sold in expensive retreats. It is happening in kitchens, commutes, lunch breaks, and bedtime routines. It is ordinary people deciding that their peace matters, that their energy is precious, that their attention is a gift they can choose to give, or withhold. In a world that often feels out of control, these small acts of self-respect are revolutionary. They are a quiet rebellion against the idea that life must be frantic to be full. And in reclaiming slowness, presence, and care, people are discovering something essential, that a good life is not found in the future, after the next achievement or purchase, but right here, in the texture of an ordinary day, if only we are willing to notice it. If this resonated with you, hit that like button. It helps more people find these ideas. And if you're ready to bring a little more calm, clarity, and joy into your everyday life, subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching, and remember, the most ordinary moments can become extraordinary when you choose to show up for them.